Hi everyone, this is Jasmine from the Book Arts program at the J. Willard Marriott Library at the University of Utah. In this video, I'm going to show you all how to make a Masu box. And unfortunately, we don't have a lesson plan to go along with this, so it's going to be more of a bonus video. But we do have a handout that we will put on our website that'll be available to you, and that's under the K-12 Lesson Plans and Resources tab. So that's where you can find all of our other lesson plans as well as downloadable PDF handouts. And we give this handout to our educators during our educator workshops, and then they can take that and photocopy it and give it off to their students. And so that will hopefully help in the being able to follow along. But you can also find how to make this Masu box online as well. The materials and tools that you're going to need for this box is very basic. The most essential part is the paper. Tools, you don't really need any tools at all. So paper is what's going to be the most important essential part of this box. So the paper that you're going to need, and I'm going to talk about dimensions, so the size of the piece of paper for just a second. So what I'm holding right here is a 9 by 9 inch piece of paper, and this is going to result in a 3 by 3 inch box. And so that means whatever size that you want the actual box, the piece of paper that you start with and fold is going to have to be 3 times the size of that. So if you want a 5 by 5 inch box, you're going to need a 15 by 15 inch piece of paper, which is quite large. And so we recommend, if you can find a piece of paper that it's at least 9 by 9 inches, that's great. You can use printer paper for this book form, but again, the smaller the piece of paper is that you begin with, the smaller the box is going to be. And it's tricky, from my experience, for little kids especially, to fold such a small piece of paper. But the older grades could do it. If you have really little kids, I would suggest trying to find as large a piece of paper as you can. You can even use a piece of some newspaper if you get the newspaper delivered. That's a really good place to turn to as well. One other thing about the size of the paper is that the top of the box, so whatever piece you're putting on top, needs to be 1/4 of an inch larger than the bottom. So if you're following along with the dimensions that I'm teaching, this is a 9 by 9 inch piece of paper. That's going to go on that's going to be the bottom of the box. The top of the box needs to be 1/4 of an inch larger. So just 1/4 of an inch. That will make sure that the top of the box can fit over the bottom piece. So as I mentioned earlier, you don't need any tools to make this box. It's not necessary, but if you do have some of these things available, it will help with going over the fold. So if you have a popsicle stick, that will help reinforce the fold, or a glue stick. So the side of a glue stick, you can go over the fold with your glue stick, or with the handle of your scissors. So if you have any of those things, it wouldn't hurt, but again, they're not necessary. You can also just use your fingernails and your fingers to crease the fold. So go ahead and pause the video there, collect your paper, cut it down if you need to, get your tools if you'd like, and I will see you back here and we will make the box together. Once you have all of your paper and your tools ready to go, this is how we're going to fold the pieces of paper together, and it's going to be the exact same way for both. So I'm going to start with my bottom piece. So bottom piece first. So you're going to fold this in half, and this is a perfect square, so it doesn't matter which way. So you're going to fold it in half, and this is the most important part. Make sure that you line up your corners and your edges. So once my corners are in place, this is kind of a nice trick. Instead of folding from one edge to the other, I like to bring my finger down the middle, so where that fold is, and then hold it in place and then fold from the middle to the outer edges, just like so. And this is where one of your tools can come in handy. So if you have a popsicle stick, you can go over the fold, make it really crisp. So this box is really important. It's going to be really important to get really crisp folds in order for this box to come together nicely. So, and again, you can use the side of a pair of scissors or the side of your glue stick. Okay, you're going to open it up to a letter V, so make it into a V, and you're going to fold it in half the other way. So with the fold going down, going from top to bottom, you're going to fold it in half the other way. Lining up your corners and your edges again. Bring your finger down to that middle part of the fold, and then creasing from the middle to the outer edges. Really go over the fold. Make it really crisp. Okay, now we're going to open it all the way up, and your paper should be divided into 4 squares. The next step is to bring all 4 corners of your sheet into the center. So right where all of those folds intersect, right in the middle, is where you're going to bring all 4 corners. So you're going to take each corner one at a time. And I also like to I like to put my finger right in the middle so I know where exactly I'm going to place this corner. So I'm pinching the corner and I'm bringing it right to the middle, so where they all intersect. And if it's a little bit off, try your best to make sure that your students or your kids are really getting it right in the middle. And then you're going to bring your finger to the middle of the fold, crease it from the middle to the outer edges. Go over it with your popsicle stick, and you're going to repeat that on all 4 corners. So I'll do one more, and then I'll have you guys pause the video so I can continue folding and you guys can catch up. So folding from the middle to the outer edges, creasing and creasing. So go ahead and pause there and finish all 4 corners, and I'll meet you back here in just a minute. All right, once you're here and all of your corners are folded into the middle, and again, if they're a little bit off, that's okay. Chances are you cut this piece of paper by hand and it's not going to be perfect no matter how closely you cut it. So it's okay if it's not completely perfect. We just want to get it as close as we can to the middle. So we're going to continue folding. We're going to take the bottom of our piece of paper, so the bottom, and I'm going to bring it to the middle, so right where all of those pieces, all of those corners come together in the middle. I'm going to line it up, and it's nice to also line up your edges of the paper as well. So you're going to take your fingers and you're going to fold it from the middle to the outer edges. Just like that. So, and then you can go over it with your popsicle stick. Okay, so then I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. So I'm going to flip mine around because it's a lot easier for me to fold going from the bottom up rather than the top down, but you're basically going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So taking the bottom, bringing it up to meet that edge, crease it, go over it a couple of times. All right, now we're here and we're gonna open up these 2 edges here, almost like little doors. I like to think of them as French doors. And you're gonna see these 2 little flaps right here. And you're gonna pinch onto those flaps, those little triangular looking flaps. And you're going to pinch and pull so it comes completely undone, just on those edges, not the whole thing come undone, but just the two sides. So then you're going to take the bottom of this right here and you're going to bring this up to meet the middle. So right where those corners come together in the middle, you're going to set it, you're going to put it in place and then crease from the middle to the outer edges. Flip it around and do the same thing. So take the bottom, bring it up to meet the middle, push or pinch and fold, go over it a couple of times. Then you're going to end up with this long piece of paper that has a little diamond on both ends. So this is probably the trickiest part of the entire box. And for some people it clicks really well. And then for others it takes a little bit of adjustment and moving the box around so that it all comes together. So if you don't get it the first time, don't worry, just keep trying and I'll try to explain it as clearly as possible. So with your long piece of paper right here, you're going to see these two diagonal folds right here and right here. So what you're going to want to do is, and I'm going to flip this around so that it's facing me, but identify, so you're going to find those two diagonal folds, and I'm going to go over those folds with a pen so that you guys can see where they are. So that diagonal fold there and that one, so they come together like that. So I'm going to find those two diagonal folds, and I'm going to use my fingertips, and I'm going to almost like push them towards the table so that they come together. And then my thumbs are actually right on the edge of the box. It's on these folds right here, and I'm going to push these two together, and then I'm going to start to stand it up. So if you can see it like this, it starts to stand up. I'm going to push these little flaps down, and then I'm going to fold this over the side like that and crease it. So there's the side of my box. So again, I'm going to push the two diagonal folds together, and my thumbs are on the folds on the box itself. So these two little folds here, I'm going to push them towards the middle and then flip that flap over, crease it down, and now I have the bottom of my Masu box. Because we made the top of the box 1/4 of an inch larger, so the piece of paper we started out with is 1/4 of an inch bigger, and that will allow us to place the top nicely and snugly over the bottom piece so that it fits. So that's how you make a Masu box. In the next video, I will show you all some different ideas on how you can use a Masu box for other projects.